You see, everything is hard before it's easy. Everything. Think about it. Remember when you first learned to tie your shoelaces? It seemed impossible, didn't it? Your little fingers fumbled with the laces, trying to make them dance in that intricate pattern your parents showed you. But now you can tie your shoes without even looking. You can do it while having a conversation, while thinking about your day ahead. What was once a mountain is now a molehill. That's the secret, folks. That's the key to unlocking your potential, to achieving your dreams, to becoming the person you were destined to be. Understanding that everything, I mean everything. Now, I know what some of you are thinking. But preacher, you don't understand. My mountain is too high. My dream is too big. My goal is too far out of reach. And to that I say, let me tell you a story. Back in my day, I knew a young man. Let's call him David. David had a dream of becoming a doctor. But David, he came from a poor family. His parents were hardworking folks, but they barely had enough to put food on the table, let alone send their son to medical school. David's mountain seemed insurmountable. But you know what David did? He started climbing. One step at a time. He studied harder than anyone else in his high school. He worked part-time jobs to save money. He applied for every scholarship he could find. And guess what? He got into medical school. That wasn't the end of David's climb. Oh no. Medical school was another mountain entirely. Sleepless nights, endless exams, crushing debt. There were times when David wanted to give up. Times when he thought, maybe this mountain's too high for me. Temperatures are hard before it's easy. So he kept climbing. And today, Dr. David is saving lives in a hospital, living his dream, standing on top of the mountain he once thought was unclimbable. Now, I can see some of you shifting in your seats. You're thinking, that's a nice story, preacher, but it doesn't apply to me. My situation is different. And you're right. Your situation is different, and your mountain is unique to you. But let me tell you something. The principle remains the same. Whether you're trying to start a business, lose weight, learn a new skill, or repair a broken relationship, it's all hard before it's easy. The question is, are you willing to embrace the hard? You see, we live in a world that celebrates instant gratification. We want everything now, fast, easy, but real growth, real achievement, real success, it doesn't happen overnight. It happens one step at a time, one day at a time. Think about a butterfly. Before it spreads its beautiful wings and takes flight, it has to go through a painful transformation. It has to struggle out of its cocoon. And here's the interesting part. If you let the butterfly out of its cocoon, if you make it easy for it, butterfly will never fly. Because it's the struggle that gives its wings the strength to fly. Your struggles, your challenges, your hard times, they're not obstacles. They're opportunities. Opportunities to grow stronger, to become wiser, to transform into the person you're meant to be. Now, I'm not saying it's going to be easy. Far from it. There will be days when you want to give up. Days when you look at that mountain and think, I can't do this. But those are the days that matter most. Those are the days that separate the dreamers from the achievers. The hard is what makes it great. The hard is what gives you the skills, the strength, the character to not just reach your goals, but to thrive once you get there. Think about it. If everything were easy, would anything be worth doing? If every mountain were a molehill, would reaching the top mean anything? It's the challenge that gives the achievement its value. It's the struggle that makes the success sweet. Once you embrace this mindset, once you accept that everything is hard before it's easy, you start to see challenges differently. You start to welcome them. Because you know that each challenge is making you stronger, bringing you one step closer to your goal. And let me tell you something else. The joy isn't just in reaching the top of the mountain. The real joy, the real growth happens during the climb. It's in the friendships you forge with fellow climbers. It's in the breathtaking views you get to see along the way. It's in the person you become as you face each challenge, as you overcome each obstacle. Now I want you to think about something you've been putting off, something you've been telling yourself is too hard, too challenging, too far out of reach. Got it? Good. Now I want you to make a promise to yourself. Promise that you'll take one step towards that goal today. Just one step. It doesn't have to be big. Remember, we're climbing a mountain here, not taking a leap of faith. Maybe that step is making a phone call you've been avoiding. Maybe it's writing the first paragraph of that book you've always wanted to write. Maybe it's lacing up your running shoes and going for a jog around the block. But whatever it is, do it. Do it today. Here's the truth. A year from now, you'll wish you had started today. 5 years from now, you'll look back and either thank yourself for starting or regret that you didn't. And to tell you something else. You're stronger than you think. You are more capable than you believe in you. The power to climb any mountain, to overcome any obstacle, to achieve any dream. But that power is like a muscle. It grows stronger the more you use it. So use it. Push yourself. Embrace the hard, because on the other side of hard, that's where the magic happens. That's where dreams come true. That's where you become the person you were always meant to be. Now, I know some of you are sitting there thinking, that's all good, preacher. But what about when I fail? What about when I slip and fall on this mountain I'm climbing? And to that, I sell in question. Failure, my friends, is not the opposite of success. It's part of success. Show me a successful person, and I'll show you someone who has failed more times than you can count. The difference, they didn't let failure stop. They used it as a stepping stone. Think about a baby learning to walk. That baby is going to fall. A lot. But does the baby give up? Does the baby think, well, I guess walking isn't for me. I'll just crawl for the rest of my life? Of course not. The baby gets up and tries again and again and again until walking becomes easy. That's the mindset we need to adopt. We need to see failure not as a dead end, but as feedback. Not as a stop sign, but as a detour. Each failure is teaching you something. It's showing you what doesn't work, bringing you one step closer to what does work. Remember Thomas Edison? The man who invented the light bulb, he failed thousands of times before he succeeded. When asked about it, he said, I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work. That's the mindset of a champion. That's the mindset of someone who understands that everything is hard before it's easy. So the next time you fail, and you will fail because that's part of the journey, don't beat yourself up. Don't throw in the towel. Instead, ask yourself, what can I learn from this? How can I use this to get better? Another thing about failure, it's often not as bad as we fear it will be. Our minds have a tendency to catastrophize, to imagine the worst possible outcomes. But more often than not, the reality is far less scary than our... I remember a time when I was terrified of public speaking. The thought of standing in front of a crowd, all eyes on me, made my palms sweat and my heart race. But I knew that to achieve my goals, to make the impact I wanted to make, I had to overcome this fear. So I signed up for a public speaking event. And you know what? I was terrible. I stumbled over my words. I forgot whole sections of my speech. I was a nervous wreck. But here's the thing. The world didn't end. The audience didn't laugh me off stage. The sun still rose the next day. And because I had faced that fear, because I had embraced the hard, the next time was a little easier. And the time after that, even easier still. Now, public speaking is as natural to me as breathing. That's the power of embracing the hard. That's the magic that happens when you push through your comfort zone. Now let's talk about some tension on this journey. Patience, in today's world, we're used to instant results. We can order a meal and have it delivered to our doorstep in minutes. We can send a message to someone on the other side of the world and get a reply in seconds. Personal growth, achievement, success, these things take time. They require, think about planting a tree. You don't plant a seed one day and expect to see a fully grown tree the next morning. It takes time. It takes nurturing. It's your dreams, your goals. They're like that tree. You have to plant the seed, water it regularly, protect it from harsh conditions, and for a long time, you might not see any results. You might look at that patch of earth and see nothing but dirt. Beneath the surface, something magical is happening. Roots are growing. A seedling is forming. And one day, if you've been patient, if you've kept nurturing that dream when you couldn't see results, you'll see a sprout break through the soil. That's often how success works. It's not always visible. It's not always obvious. But if you keep putting in the work, if you keep climbing that mountain, even when you can't see the top, one day you'll break through the clouds and realize how far you've come. So, be patient with yourself. Be patient with your dreams. Remember, night success usually takes about 10 years. Now, let's talk about another crucial aspect of this journey. Your mindset is like the lens through which you view the world. And let me tell you, the right mindset can turn obstacles into opportunities, challenges into chances to grow. There are two types of mindsets, and a growth mindset. A fixed mindset believes that our abilities are set in stone. I'm not good at math. I'm not a creative person. I'm too old to learn new things. These are all examples of a fixed mindset. Our growth mindset, on the other hand, believes that our abilities can be developed through dedication and hard work. I'm not good at math yet. I'm learning to be more creative. It's never too late to learn something new. See the difference? Adopting a growth mindset is crucial when you're facing something hard. Because with a growth mindset, you see challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, not as threats to your ability or self-worth. Let me give you an example. Back in my day, I knew a woman named Sarah. Sarah was in her 40s when she decided she wanted to run a marathon. Now, Sarah had never been much of an athlete. She'd never run more than a mile and a half. But Sarah had a growth mindset. Instead of thinking, I'm not a runner, Sarah thought, I'm not a runner yet. She started small, running for just a few minutes at a time. It was hard. She was out of breath. Her legs ached. But Sarah kept at it. She gradually increased her distance. She learned about proper nutrition and hydration. She joined a running club for support and motivation. And you know what? A year later, Sarah completed her first marathon. Was it easy? No. Was it worth it? Absolutely. Because not only did Sarah achieve her goal, but she also discovered a strength within herself that she never knew existed. That's the power of a growth mindset. That's the magic that happens when you embrace the heart and believe in your ability to grow and improve. Now, I want to talk about something that's often overlooked when we discuss success and achievement: the power of community. You see, climbing your mountain doesn't mean you have to do it alone. In fact, having the right people around you can make all the difference. Think about mountain climbers. When they attempt to scale the world's highest peaks, they don't do it alone. They have a team. They have guides. They have support staff. Because they know that the mountain is too big, too challenging to tackle alone. Your dreams, your goals, they're your Everest. And while the climb is ultimately yours, having the right people around you can make that climb a lot easier. These are the people who believe in you, even when you don't believe in yourself. The ones who remind you of how far you've come when all you can see is how far you have left to go. The ones who pick you up when you fall, who celebrate your victories, no matter how small. But be careful. Just as the right people can lift you up, the wrong people can drag you down. You know the type I'm talking about. The naysayers, the dream stealers, the ones who say that's too hard or you can't do that or why bother. These people are often speaking from their own fears, their own limitations. And if you let them, they'll project those fears and limitations onto you. Surround yourself with climbers, not campers. Surround yourself with people who are also embracing the hard, who are also pushing themselves to grow and achieve. Because their energy, their determination, their courage is continuous. And here's something else about community. It's not just about what others can do for you. It's about what you can do for others. When you're climbing your mountain, reach back and help someone else up. Share your knowledge, your experience, your strength. It's the beautiful thing. When you help others climb their mountains, your own climb becomes easier. You gain perspective. You reinforce your own knowledge. You find strength you didn't know you had. Now let's talk about something that's crucial on this journey. Self-care. When you're pushing yourself, when you're embracing the hard, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking you need to be going full throttle all the time. But that's a recipe for burnout, not success. Think about a car. If you drive it at top speed all the time without ever stopping for fuel or maintenance, what's going to happen? That's right, it's going to break down. And you, my friend, are far more precious than any. Self-care isn't selfish. It's necessary. It's what allows you to keep climbing, to keep pushing, to keep growing. It's what gives you the strength to face the hard times. So, what does self-care look like? Well, it's different for everyone. Maybe for you, it's taking a quiet walk in nature. Maybe it's reading a good book. Maybe it's spending time with loved ones. Maybe it's getting a good night's sleep or eating a healthy meal. Whatever it is for you, make time for it. Prioritize it. Because the stronger you are, the better equipped you'll be to face the challenges that come your way. And here's something else about self-care. It includes being kind to yourself. We're often our own harshest critics. We berate ourselves for our mistakes. We downplay our achievements. We focus on our flaws rather than our strengths. But imagine if you had a friend who spoke to you the way you speak to yourself. Would you keep that friend around? Probably not. So why do we treat ourselves that way? Be kind to yourself. Celebrate your victories no matter how small. Learn from your mistakes, but don't dwell on them. Recognize your progress even when it feels slow. The journey is long. The mountain is high. You need to pace yourself. You need to take care of yourself. Because this journey, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Now, as we start to wrap up our time together, I want to talk about something that's absolutely crucial. Purpose. You see, embracing the hard, pushing through challenges, climbing your mountain, it's all a lot easier when you know why you're doing it. Your purpose is your compass. It's what guides you when the path gets tough. It's what keeps you going when you feel like giving up. It's what makes the hard times worthwhile. So, I want you to think about your purpose. What are you climbing your mountain? What's at the top that's calling to you? What impact do you want to make in this world? Your purpose doesn't have to be grand or world-changing. It just needs to be meaningful to you. Maybe your purpose is to provide a better life for your family. Maybe it's to make a difference in your community. Maybe it's to create something beautiful that brings joy to others. Whatever it is, connect with it. Why strong enough? You'll find a way to overcome anyhow. When you're clear on your purpose, the hard times become easier to bear. The challenges become opportunities. The mountain becomes climbable. Think about the great achievers throughout history. The ones who changed the world, who pushed humanity forward. They all had a strong sense of purpose. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream of equality. Marie Curie was driven by her passion for science and the potential to save lives. Nelson Mandela was fueled by his vision of a free and equal society. These individuals faced enormous challenges. They had to embrace the hard every single day. But their strong sense of purpose carried them through. It gave them the strength to keep going when others would have given up. Now, you're not saying you need to change the world on a global scale. Your purpose can be personal. It can be local. But it needs to be powerful enough to get you out of bed in the morning, to keep you going when times get tough. Is something important to remember? You grow as you climb your mountain. You might discover new passions, new callings. That's okay. That's part of the journey. The key is to always be connected to something greater than yourself. Let me tell you a story. I once knew a young man named Michael. Michael was working a job he hated, just going through the motions of life. He was existing but not really living. Then one day, he volunteered at a local animal shelter. And something? He saw the difference he could make in the lives of these animals. He felt a sense of purpose he'd never experienced before. And suddenly everything changed. The long hours of volunteering after his regular job didn't feel like a burden. The challenges of learning about animal care weren't obstacles, they were opportunities to grow. Michael had found his purpose. And that purpose gave him the strength to make some big changes in his life. He went back to school to become a veterinarian. It wasn't easy. It was hard, very hard. But because he was connected to his purpose, he was able to push through the challenges. Today, Michael runs his own animal clinic. He's making a difference in his community, one furry friend at a time. And the spark in his eyes when he talks about his work. That's the power of purpose. So I ask you again, what's your purpose? What's calling to you from the top of your mountain? Now let's talk about something that often holds people back from embracing their purpose and climbing their mountain. Fear is a natural part of the human experience. It's our brain's way of trying to keep us safe. But too often, we let fear hold us back from the very things that could help us grow and achieve our dreams. There are many types of fear that can hold us back. Fear of failure, fear of success, fear of the unknown, fear of what others might think. These fears can be paralyzing if we let them. It's often based on stories we tell ourselves, stories that aren't necessarily true. I'll fail and everyone will laugh at me. I'm not smart enough to do this. I don't deserve success. These are all stories, not facts. The key is to recognize these fears for what they are, stories, and then choose to write a different story. A story where you're brave enough to try. A story where you're strong enough to handle whatever comes your way. A story where you're worthy of success. Name is in the absence of fear. Courage is feeling the fear and doing it anyway. It's looking at that mountain, feeling scared and taking that first step regardless. And here's the secret about first. Once you start moving, once you start taking action, the fear often begins to fade. It's like turning on the light in a dark room. The monsters you imagined in the shadows disappear. So what fear is holding you back? What story are you telling yourself that's keeping you from embracing the hard and climbing your mountain? Identify it, name it, and then choose to write a new story. Now, let's discuss another crucial element of success. Consistency. You see, embracing the hard isn't a one-time thing. It's not something you do once and then you're done. It's a daily choice. It's about showing up day after day, even when you don't feel like it. Think about water dripping on a rock. One drop won't make a dent. 100 drops won't make a difference. But over time, with consistent dripping, that water can carve a hole right through the rock. That's the power of consistency. Small actions taken consistently over time can lead to massive. It's not about making huge leaps every day. It's about taking small steps forward consistently. It's about doing what you can with what you have, where you are every single day. Maybe you can't put in 3 hours at the gym every day, but you can do 15 minutes of exercise. Maybe you can't write 10 pages of your book every day, but you can write 1 paragraph. These small, consistent actions add up over time. Consistency builds momentum. And momentum is powerful. It's what carries you through the tough times. It's what keeps you moving when motivation fades. But here's the truth. Motivation is fickle. It comes and goes. You can't rely on motivation to achieve your dreams, but you can rely on consistency. You can choose to show up, to put in the work, regardless of how you feel. And that's where discipline comes in. Discipline is what gets you out of bed when you'd rather sleep in. It's what keeps you working on your goals when you'd rather watch TV. It's what makes you say no to instant gratification and yes to long-term fulfillment. Discipline is like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And the stronger your discipline, the easier it becomes to embrace the hard, to push through challenges, to climb your mountain. I challenge you. What's one small action you can commit to doing consistently every single day that will move you closer to your goals? What's one area where you can flex your discipline muscle? Now let's talk about something that's often overlooked on the journey to success. The importance of rest and recovery. In our hustle culture, we often glorify non-stop work. We wear our busyness like a badge of honor. But here's the opposite of productivity. Rest is part of, think about it. If you're constantly pushing, constantly in go mode, you're going to burn out. You can't sprint a marathon. You need periods of rest and recovery to perform at your best. This is true in physical training, and it's true in life. When you work out, you're actually breaking down your muscles. It's during the rest period that your muscles repair and grow stronger. The same principle applies to your mental and emotional growth. Taking time to rest, to recharge, to reflect, this isn't laziness. It's an essential part of the growth process. It's what allows you to integrate what you've learned. It's what gives you the energy to keep climbing your mountain. But here's the catch. True rest isn't about collapsing in exhaustion. It's about intentional recovery. It's about engaging in activities that rejuvenate you, that fill you up, that bring you joy. Might be for you, that's spending time in nature. Maybe it is engaging in a hobby you love. Maybe it's connecting deeply with loved ones. Whatever it is, make time for it. Prioritize it, because the better rested you are, the more energy you'll have to embrace the hobby. It isn't just about your body. It's about your mind too. Take time to quiet your mind, to step away from the constant noise and stimulation in modern life. Meditate, journal, pray, whatever works for you. Give your mind space to process, to create, to dream. Because often, it's in these quiet moments of rest that our best ideas come. It's when we step back from the daily grind that we can see the bigger picture, that we can reconnect with our purpose, that we can find new solutions to old problems. So, as you're climbing your mountain, as you're embracing the hard, remember to build in periods of rest and recovery. It's not a detour from your journey. It's an essential part of it. Now, as we near the end of our time together, I want to talk about something that's absolutely crucial. The power of belief. Your beliefs shape your reality. They determine what you think is possible, what you're willing to try, what you're able to achieve. If you believe something is impossible, you won't even attempt it. If you believe you're not capable, you'll prove yourself, right? But if you believe in yourself, if you believe in your ability to learn and grow, if you believe that you can climb your mountain, well, that belief can move mountains.